Hi, my name is Andrew and welcome to the video. So in my internal fight to understand what the hell I'm talking about, I decided to make a video game. It's something I've earnestly been curious about. I did some light coding and basic game design back in high school, which was like 20 years ago. But then life has kind of sank that particular part of me. Jobs, responsibilities, just kind of rolled over my creative side. Luckily for this effort, I was recently fired from my job, so I find myself more than available to work on a project like this. And then I heard about the GMTK Game Jam. And I thought, oh great, something to limit the scope, something to cram in restrictions, where I can try and make something as quickly and as cleanly as possible. Fantastic. I did miss the start of the game jam. I was about 6 hours behind. I got the YouTube notification, was like, oh no. Anyways, I started a little bit late, but starting a little bit late is better than never actually starting. The theme was loop, which immediately sent me, well, sitting still and contemplating the idea. So instead of sliding further into ennui, I started working. And by working, I really mean learning, or I guess reading. Oh, did I not mention? I don't know what I'm doing. I've never actually made a video game before, especially not in Unity. I have dabbled in Game Maker a little bit, but nothing in 3D. So it was tutorial after tutorial after tutorial. And I landed on a format that I liked. First person, existential horror. Look, I know how that sounds, but like darkness, creepiness, lanterns, and caverns are kind of my comfort zone. So I was off, coding, familiar with Unity, with the asset store, and getting the game world built up. The tutorials I was following eventually stopped, and I went off on my own, attempting to use what I had learned in the roughly 8 hours I had been learning to continue working on the game. And then I hit a wall. A wall I didn't get past for another 6 hours. One line of code. This is no joke. Literally, a single line of code held me up for 6 hours. I'm mad about it, but it was my fault, so yeah, I fixed it and we're moving on. It was in my rage-fueled coding efforts that I found the idea behind the game. Loops. Well, that's the theme. You know what? I mean loops as in cycles, as in repeating. The game repeats, right? You play through the game, and when you win, the game brings you back to the start. You know, like Sisyphus. That was the idea, Sisyphus, essentially. Or at least a task you've been doing so long you can't recall the why of it, so that just needs to happen. I've been told my references are a little too niche, so I'll put it this way. Sisyphus was tasked with pushing a boulder up a hill for eternity. It rolls down the other side, and they have to go and push it up the other side, and rolls down the other side, so you know, like a loop. You see? Alright, you see it? Alright, cool. The game starts, so you do some semi-repetitive task while a creature hunts you, win or lose, and it resets because you're Sisyphus. I had basically the lobby done, and I had 60 hours left. Making good progress, I think. Another 9 hours on the AI I would have to chuck out anyways, because the tutorial I found was 5 years old and none of the code worked, so you know, game dev stuff, I guess. Settled on using the graph system for movement, using travel points and a nav mesh. It was really simple, but I was kind of stressed out for time. I tried to get the creature to damage the player. I was really struggling to find information about this exact thing online while the game jam was going on. Getting this simple thing of when the player interacts with the bad guys, you lose, took like 8 hours. And I'm not joking. I have since found tutorials about this, so, you know, fuck me, I guess. Almost a full day, and all I had was a simple puzzle and a monster that couldn't find you and couldn't hurt you. Honestly, I was really deflated. I woke up the next day and added a little more level. Then, since I knew it would be difficult, I started working on the menus. 12 hours later, I have my menus. No, this isn't a joke. I spent 12 hours trying to find information about menus. There are no tutorials on menus past 2023. What happened? Did Unity's PR fumble cause everyone who ever worked on the dang thing to delete all their stuff? 4 or 5 days after I complete the game jam, my YouTube recommendations are just full of menu tutorials in modern Unity 6. So I'm like, alright, cool, that's fine. I could have used that a week ago, but whatever. Anyways, I finished that and I had about 10 hours left, give or take. Cool, except it's like, oh cool, fantastic, that's so much time. Except it wasn't. It was like 1 a.m. and I was literally passing out at my desk. So to prevent disaster, I went to sleep. And I woke up with about 6 hours left to the deadline. It wasn't done, but it wasn't getting any better with the time I had left, so finishing, air quotes, began, wrapping up the menus, getting collisions to work with a quick test play. Looks good, I thought. Figured out how to build the game out with a launcher. It was actually pretty easy. I played the game off the launcher, and some of these textures are broken, and you can't see some of the items. Cool, I don't have time to fix this. I need to upload the game. So I did. I made the page, I uploaded the game, and I submitted it with like an hour or so left to go. And with that, I did it. I made a game in roughly 4 days. Something I wanted to do for years. I did it in 4 days. Well, my project is rough. I kind of love it. It's like a sketch, an idea-made manifest. A phrase I've heard recently that I'm agreeing with more and more is make it exist first, make it good later. And yeah, make something, do it. I did it, although it's jank. I kind of love it. Anyways, thanks for listening to my struggle. Link to the Game Jam will be in the description. I'm gonna be doing more game stuff, more actual game dev stuff. This is kind of lit something up, so I'm gonna start making games, and I'm gonna be doing devlogs on here. So please do hang around. Subscribe to see what I'm doing next. Check out my game on itch. It's garbage. I've been Angie. I'll talk to you later.